Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to Wealthy Sailor. This is my channel. I am John. We talk about things like finance and business and whatever else I feel like talking about at the time, and investing and everything. The election's over. This video is being filmed pretty much immediately after the election results are pretty much done because it took like a week. But it won't be released for probably a couple more weeks because a lot of my videos are pre-filmed because I have a busy work schedule, so deal with it. But anyway, this channel is basically about me trying to achieve a goal of being worth $500,000 by the end of next year. That's a total net worth to include property and stuff like that. I'm doing very well. If you're catching my update videos, I'm even surprised with everything. Been saving a lot, been investing a lot, and I've been trying to do very smart investments. So what this channel is about: is silver a good investment? Now, for purposes of this particular discussion, we're talking about silver coins. The reason being is because I've been buying over the last couple years, every month or so, I buy, like 5 or 6 silver coins of 1 ounce each. Sometimes I'll save up and I'll buy like a 5-ounce bar or something like that. And I did it to kind of hedge myself. And then with the way the economy's going, I'm still very much thinking that the economy's going to go down at some point. Well, of course it's going to go down at some point, but I think it's going to go down sometime soon. I think it was supposed to go down by now. And I'm thinking with a Democrat being elected, I think it's going to slowly go down. Now, this is not a good or bad thing. It's natural fluctuations in the market. The market always goes down once every 10 or 20 years. That's fine, but on average, the market's going to go up always. So it's fine. And the key is to be prepared for it, not to be afraid of it. So I'm starting to save money so I can invest money in pretty much real estate and buy up more stocks when they're cheaper down the road. So back to silver. So years ago, I started buying silver without really knowing too much about it. I just found a website that lets you buy silver coins. I'm like, yeah, sure. I'll buy silver coins. One day I'll upgrade to gold coins so I can have my Scrooge McDuck vault in my house that I've always wanted. But I never really did the research on whether it was a good investment or not. So I decided I'm going to make a video, so I started to research it. So the first thing is, what makes a good investment? And that's really hard to say. I mean, for me, safety is a big thing, and return on investment's a big thing. It doesn't, to me, I mean, obviously, savings bonds are the safest, and you get a return on investment, but you get very minimal return on investment. So I don't really like those all that much, not at this point in my life. I know when you're retired, it's different, but right now I'm not good. So silver, like, what's the return on investment? How safe is it? And is it really an investment, or is it more of a collection, like art or wine or whiskey or pew-pews or stuff like that? Like what kind of investment category or avenue would silver be? So before we get into anything, let me talk a little bit about precious metals. A lot of people have a weird mindset about gold, about how it's supposed to be recession proof. They're not. Precious metals are no different than art, cars, pew-pews, guitars, whatever collection item you have, where they serve no practical purpose, so the only real value is what is placed on it by the buyer. Now, I understand you can say that applies to a lot of things. You're like, well, money has no backing either. It's like, no, that's not exactly true though, because money, or the US dollar, is backed by the promise of the US government, and it's FDIC insured, and it has all these other things in place. No other commodity really does. I mean, like, if art suddenly goes down a bunch, the federal government's not going to step in to try to correct it. If art goes down, then you're just, you're stuck with worthless art. Now, gold and silver do have industrial purposes, so there is a value there. So it is good to hold on to them for that. Now, I'm not arguing that you shouldn't, but that's pretty much as practical as it is. And to my doomsday preppers out there, in the event of the world coming to an end, people are probably not going to be trading gold and silver. They're going to be trading things like food, ammo, medicine. One guy on one of the Doomsday Prepper shows knows how to make really good moonshine. These are going to be your bartering items. If we're in a doomsday scenario and you need food and I have food, I'm not going to take gold in order to give you food. I'm going to want something actually like practical that I can use day to day. Now, once things start rebuilding, maybe, but look, that's just not what precious metals are for. It's just not how it works. So, for safety and long-term investments, I do think silver is a good long-term investment. At least the coins themselves are. The thing with investing in like silver mines and silver certificates and silver indexes, they're a little different. I'm talking specifically about the coins. They have lasted a long time. I mean, 200 years people have been trading it, at least in the U.S. markets. And they have gone through all the recessions and stuff like that. So I think they're pretty set with long term. I don't think there's any problem there. Now, for return on investment's kind of weird. Okay, so I looked at the last 10 years. So the last 10 years starts after the recession of 2008. So the last 10 years, silver has only climbed about 10%. That is extremely low for any investment. Keep in mind that the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones Industrial Average during the same time has gone up almost 150%, which is what you'd expect because a good investment will double every about 7 to 8 years. So you'd expect it to go up that much. So yeah, silver just drastically underperformed. Gold did perform a little better, but neither of them kept up with the stock market industry. So you're talking about 10% return over 10 years. That's 1% a year on average, not compounding. That's ridiculous. That is like really low, but safe. So not the worst thing. All right, now for hedging your bets against Wall Street, that's kind of weird because, so it should be pointed out that I went into this video kind of already thinking that silver wasn't the best bet. And the reason being is because I own silver and I've been tracking what it's worth, and I know I haven't like made enough money to make it worth it, which is why I've actually at this point stopped buying it. There's other things to buy right now. I've been heavy in dividend funds and stuff like that. So when I went into it, I went with the mentality of like, okay, well maybe I can prove myself wrong. So I looked at the market to kind of figure out how the market affects the silver prices. So in 2008, when the recession happened and went down, silver price went down with it, as we already went over. But after that, silver prices climbed a lot faster than the market did. It went up and it hit its peak in about 2011, but then it kind of sputtered out. So I did some research on why it hit that peak. And I think it had less to do with actual global market and more to do with select individuals. So at the time, conspiracies and distrust of the banking system were very prevalent. The silver markets picked up on this, so advertising increased. And they were selling, it seemed to me like they were selling so little before this that just doubling their market share, which wasn't a huge increase in people, did a huge change to their actual portfolio. And it looks like that's what they did. I pulled up a bunch of commercials that were running back then where they're trying to get people to move their entire 401k and IRA into silver and gold and stuff like that. And while I'm not disagreeing with that as a financial move, it's that when you have such a low market share back in 2007, you know, if you have maybe 10,000 people using this as an investment platform, and then you double it to 20,000, yeah, you're going to make the price of silver jump up artificially. But that's not because silver is being worth more. It just means that they temporarily created a large demand for the silver supply at the time. So that's kind of what it seems like happened at that point. I could be wrong, but that's definitely where that spike seems to have come from, because it's going up at the same time the regular stock market's going up. It's granted it's going up a lot quicker, but then it peaks and it stops and then it starts its decline again and starts acting inverse to the actual stock market. So I put up a side-by-side comparison of silver, the S&P 500, and the Dow Jones. And I also had gold on there, but that's irrelevant to this conversation. And I compared them over the last 50 years. And there's only been 2 times in the last 50 years where the silver growth in 1 year outperformed the S&P or the Dow Jones over the same year. And that was in the mid-80s, and then that was again in 2011. Every other year, it was majorly outperforming or underperforming the Dow Jones and the S&P 500. So that's just some of the stats of it. And if you go away from everything I just said, I hope what you realize is that it might be a safe investment. I haven't seen anything to make me think it's unsafe, but it's an underperforming investment. And to be honest with you, you make so much more money or wealth by investing in the stock market that even if it has a few bad years, I think it's still worth it just to continue on the stock market, because your decade average will still be higher than what silver provides. So I want to make a pros and cons list, and to be honest, except for it being relatively safe, which I think deserves an asterisk because again, the silver market price is just based on what other people want to pay for your silver. So I mean, it's not so much based on anything. Most economists, this is why like I hate conversations about the gold standard, because most economists will tell you like it's not like a thing. Like people think it is. These are usually the same people that say audit the Fed and stuff like that. It's not a thing. Like the silver standard, the gold standard, precious metals are fixed by the other people wanting to buy it off you, same as art. I'm not saying it's a bad investment, but I'm saying that if the economy goes down, people have less money to spend around, they're probably not going to shift over to silver, because when the last time that happened, it took 3 years for them to start buying up silver and for silver to hit its peak. It wasn't a directly influenced event. So that's probably the only pro. Cons. It's difficult to buy silver cheaply because you're not going to buy it for its price. So silver might be at $20 an ounce, but you're going to end up spending $22, $23 an ounce in order to buy the coins online. That's what I did, so I was actually spending $23 an ounce, which is a huge margin. I mean, like, that's almost 10% more, so you're automatically 10% in the hole off the purchase. Now, some people might know better ways of getting it. I'm not trying to say what the best way of getting it is. It's just that's how I found my coins. If you know of a better way, you can leave it in the comments below. And the other thing is that it's difficult to liquidate because you're pretty much, I mean, I don't know how to liquidate it, but there's places that buy it online where they send you like a envelope and stuff, and you send it back, they'll test it, and they'll tell you how much they want to give to you, but they only give you like 90% of the current value, or you can take it to a pawn shop, which I've never done, but I assume it's about the same, about 90% of the value. And the biggest con, I think, is that it's completely dependent on the hype and this misunderstanding that the economy somehow needs it, when that's not really a fact, or at least it's not a fact according to most economists. Like I said, it's like art or wine or any of the other things that are worth money in a good economy, but it's the first thing people stop investing in a bad economy. So anyway, take that for what it's worth. I know I'm gonna have people in the comments telling me how stupid I am and how wrong I am, but what I will tell you is that if you're gonna say something like that, please have links to the cited information so I can actually look at what you're saying, because based on my research, I don't think I'm wrong here. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. Give me a like, a share, subscribe, please. I'm trying to grow the channel. Stay safe and keep saving.